What's up? All right, so today's video, what I want to talk about was it's a mixture of things. It's a mixture of cancel culture, racism, maybe a little D&I thrown in there. They're all basically about the same type of shit. And I ain't talking about slavery, just talking about racism, because racism, like I've said before, can be here in America. Most of the time, we think racism is white people being racist against black people, but I've seen black people racist against white people. There's a lot of black people that are racist against Hispanics, and I really don't get it, especially Mexicans. I guess they're like shit. Better, let's join the crowd and pick on them so they don't pick on me. I don't know. I really don't get it. But you think, you know, people who, but then again, it's like, why would white people be right? I guess they're the same thing. It's like, why at one point in time, why was white people enslaving black people when in history white people have been enslaved themselves? Why were black people? There was literally black people enslaving black people in American slavery. And not just here in America, like black people owning slaves, but everyone knows that black people captured, Africans captured warring tribes and sold them into slavery. So it's like, why would you do that to your own people? I mean, ultimately, it's because human nature, most of the time, thinks about, we want to worry about ourselves. Stop that. Fucking cats, man. I swear to God. Animals. Anyways, so what got me talking about this was one video I saw today from JD Delay, which I like him. He seems like a good dude. He mainly talks about killing child molesters and shit, which I'm all for. So he seems, anyone who's been to prison, came home and stayed out and is trying to talk people into not getting locked up, I support, because it's hard. I remember when I got released, there was three of us and they told me, they were like, statistics say two of y'all coming back. So 2 out of 3 people go back to prison. And I was like, I looked on your side. I was like, you talking to y'all. You ain't talking to me. Shit, I ain't coming back. It's been over 20 years and I ain't been back. So let's just keep doing what we doing. You know what I mean? Anyway, so the video, it was also some Lil Wayne's video. So first, the JD Delay video. He was commenting on this woman who basically got fired because she was racist towards some Muslims, and it got put on the internet and she got fired. And he was talking about cancel culture and how they raised like over $100,000 for this lady, and how some people say it's supporting racism and other people. And I think he was more on the side of free speech. She shouldn't get fired because of free speech. So I want to talk about that. And the other thing with Lil Wayne was, and I know y'all seen this video because this is an old one, where a guy asked him, I think it was, what's that one fucking clown? Skip Bayless does sports and shit. Like, the fuck? Anyways, Skip was like, you have a lot of white kids who like your music. What does that say? And Lil Wayne came up with the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I like Lil Wayne. I like, just because I'm commenting on what some people say and I think what they said was stupid or I don't agree with it, doesn't mean that I think the people are stupid, or it doesn't mean that I don't like the people who said it. That's what people don't understand. You cannot like somebody but like their work. Just like you can not like their work but like somebody. Like, I can be like, oh, you're the coolest person in the world, but your music is trash. Just like I like Rob Snyder. He's funny in movies, but as a person, I think he's a fucking clown. Racist clown at that. But I still like his movies. I mean, I love Kramer and Seinfeld. Still watch Seinfeld to this day. But I don't agree with what he said at the damn comedy thing. Like, obviously there's some racism in there somewhere. See, people don't understand that. They think that just that in order to be racist, you have to like be out there hunting some other race, or like if I'm racist against Mexicans, I have to be out there hunting down Mexicans and shit like that. And there's different levels of racism. So I'm not a hardcore racist. That doesn't mean that I'm not racist towards Mexicans. If I have any type of like, uh, basically, if I, what racism is if I don't like someone just because of their race. So if I don't like Mexicans just because they're Mexicans, that's racist. If I think say if I own a store and some Mexican kids come, like when I first moved down here in North Carolina, see some Mexican kids going to a store, and the lady was like, "Oh, y'all can't come in here." And it's like, that's fine if you're gonna doing that for all kids, but are you doing that just because they're Mexican? She was like, they steal. Who? Them? Like you saw them particular kids steal? No, they. Like, oh, Mexican kids steal. That'd be like saying I'm not gonna let black kids in my store, but I'm gonna let white kids because black kids steal. And it just trips me out that as intelligent as we are, as civilized as we are, we're still working and like, you know, everybody. Like saying just because some white people are racist, that doesn't mean that all white people are racist. Nothing is, you know, is all and everyone. You know, just because some black people are criminals doesn't mean that all black people are criminals. Just because some black people grow up in families without a dad doesn't mean that all black people are growing up in families without a dad. We can sit there and focus on numbers to try to prove a point on anything. Like I could sit there all day long and be like, "Oh, all white people are racist," and I'll point out thousands of white people who are racist. But what about the millions who aren't? You're not pointing them out. You have to actually compare as a whole in order to see the actual numbers. You can't just look at your numbers. It's like I told someone before, and I heard someone else say this when they were talking about like Trump rallies and shit. They're like, yeah, you think it's everyone in the world because to you that's a lot of people, but when you compare it to how many people are actually in the United States or how many people are in the world, this and that, sometimes like you go to damn, what's that bitch's name? Fucking Taylor Swift. You go to one of her concerts, it's like, oh my God, there's so many fucking people here. And, it might be, thousands of people or whatever, but it's fucking millions and millions of people here. So, I mean, you go to the concert, you're like, everyone loves Taylor Swift because there's so many people here. No, not everyone loves fucking Taylor Swift. Just because there's thousands of people there, you're talking about thousands of millions. And we do that with everything. We'll be like, oh, there's so many criminals nowadays. But you're not looking at how many non-criminals there are. You might say, there's 1,000 criminals now, where 20 years ago there was only 20 criminals. So we have so many more criminals now. Yeah, but 20 years ago, we only had 1 million people, and now we have, say, 20 million people. You see what I'm saying? Like, the percentage is what matters. If 5% of the population is criminals, it doesn't matter if the amount of criminals is 100 or the criminals is 1,000. That's like saying, would you rather, what's heavier, 1,000 pounds of feathers or 1,000 pounds of metal, concrete, whatever. Your brain wants to say, oh, metal, concrete is heavier than feathers, but 1,000 pounds is 1,000 pounds, so it doesn't matter. That's the same thing. But anyway, so getting back to the initial thing. Okay, the initial thing was J.D. DeLay and this racist-ass woman who got fired and got paid. Okay? Do we have free speech? Yes, we do. Do I believe in free speech? Yes, we do. But that doesn't mean that you can say whatever the fuck you want and not have consequences. I've said this before. I don't know if I said it on this channel, but I might have just said it on comments on YouTube or whatever. But, like, obviously, hitting someone is not okay. In society, hitting someone, punching someone in the mouth, it's against the law. Me personally, I feel if you say the wrong shit to me, I should have the right to fucking punch you in the mouth. If you don't want to get punched in the mouth, then keep your fucking mouth shut. Simple as that. But that's just my opinion. By law, I'm not allowed to punch you in the mouth. But that doesn't mean just because I'm not, I might get charged, I'm not going to do it. So you got to understand, you go up to someone running your fucking mouth and they punch you in the fucking mouth, that's your fault. I understand you have free speech. That don't mean you say whatever the fuck you want. Like, you go to your boss and be like, fuck you, bitch, and see if you keep your job. Like, go to, not just one time like you're playing around. No, just go there, go to your job and just talk that way. Like, if I went to my job and I was just like, man, fuck these bitches, motherfuckers, and just saying all this shit, I'd get fired. And they should fire me. What customers are going to want to come in there, especially customers with kids, if I'm just sitting there cussing and saying whatever the fuck I want to say? So you don't have the right to, so there are certain, same thing. Go to a fucking police officer and say, fuck you, bitch. legally you're allowed to do that. Like, they can't arrest you for that, but they will find a reason to harass you and arrest you. And most of these same clowns on the internet that are giving bitches like that money are going to be like, oh, well, you shouldn't fucking cuss at a cop, or you shouldn't talk back to a cop. So you can't cuss at a cop, but you can say some racist shit and expect to keep your job. Do I feel sorry for that bitch? No. You got fired. Go get a new fucking job. Don't look for a fucking handout. It cracks me up that motherfuckers always talking about how us black people want handouts, but yet the racist motherfuckers who get fired for saying their racist shit and then get fucking money from, I don't even know, because I don't use none of the apps. I don't ask for fucking money. I make my shit. I work for my shit. I might be broke, living in a fucking poor house, but guess what? I earned all my shit. I work hard. I work 2 motherfucking jobs if I have to. I've been fired. I got fired. I've only been fired twice in my life because I'm a hard-working person. Okay, most people, they say I'm like one of the best employees. You know, I go above and beyond. The 2 jobs I got fired from, one, I got fired from a bar. I was a bouncer. My brother, who's white, got me the job there. There was only one other black person that worked there. And one day I wore a Scully, and they're like, that's not the image that we're trying to portray. And as soon as my brother quit, they come up to me, and they didn't say I wasn't doing a good job. They said, and the worst part about what it pissed me off wasn't even that I got fired. What pissed me off was they didn't call me at home. They waited till I drove all the way in there. I show up from my shift ready to work, and there's someone else in my spot. And I'm like, ain't I working tonight? They're like, oh yeah, they want to talk to you. I go in the back, they talking about, oh, we just feel like you don't fit in here. The fuck does that mean? I don't fit in what? Because I don't hang out with y'all outside of work? Because y'all ain't my type of people? Because I listen to rap and y'all listen to country? Like, I don't get it. What do you mean I don't fit in here? But again, I didn't give a fuck. Well, back then, I don't even know if they had that type of shit. What is that shit called where motherfuckers give people money? I don't know what it's called, but y'all know what I'm talking about. They didn't have none of that shit. What is that shit? I can't think it. My mind's drawing a blank. I did it once a long time ago to try to get money to help my dog because my dog was dying and no one helped. And that's when I was like, that's why I don't ever do shit like that. I don't understand how these motherfuckers get thousands of fucking money and I can't even get, $1,000 to save a fucking dog's life. But this bitch getting thousands of dollars, $100,000 because she got fired for saying some racist shit. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So that's the first time I got fired. Second time I got fired was basically the same type of shit. New guy came in. I don't think it had anything, I don't know if the first one had anything to do with race. It just kind of seemed that way. The second one obviously absolutely had nothing to do with race. I was actually pretty cool with the manager afterwards. I think he was just trying to get rid of all the people that was there before. But it was basically the same thing. They didn't say I was doing a bad job or nothing. They just said that it just wasn't working out. And I told them, I was like, you know what? I'm not even feeling this place anymore anyways. Ever since the new management took it over, they changed a lot of the rules and a lot of the shit. And I just wasn't feeling it. So I was like, that's cool. I was like, but y'all got to get all your managers on the same page because I have some people telling me one thing. I have other people telling me another thing. It's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. But anyways, again, I just went and got a new job. I mean, whenever I lose a job, that's what I go get. Nowadays, people are like, oh, man, I got fired. Oh, poor me. That don't sound like cancer culture. That sounds like what y'all say us black people have. We want a handout. What is it called? Playing victim. That's what it is. Y'all motherfuckers are playing victim. Stop being a goddamn victim. If you ain't a victim, stand up, get a new fucking job. Have some savings, have some type of backup, or, I don't know, this crazy idea. Don't go up to random motherfuckers on the street saying racist shit. That's it. Just thought, But anyway, so I understand JD's point on it, because like I said, I'm all for free speech, so I get it, I do, but at the same time, like I said, there's certain places where you can't say shit. You go into a mall, scream bomb, causes a panic, people get trampled, and especially if someone died in like the chaos and all that shit. See if you don't catch a charge. And you can say all you want. Well, I have free speech. I can say what I want to say. You cannot go and cause a panic by what you say. It's the same thing. Would you want your elementary school teacher in there teaching the kids and be like, all right, motherfuckers, all right, little bitches, this is what we're going to do. We're going to learn the motherfucking alphabet today. Free speech, right? They can say what the fuck they want to say. But I bet y'all would have a problem with that, wouldn't you? But you don't have a problem when motherfuckers say racist shit, their jobs find out about it, and they get fired. Guess what? There's plenty of jobs that don't give a fuck. Now, I did say at the beginning I was going to talk about, Lil Wayne. So what Lil Wayne was saying was, they asked him, how do you explain having white fans, whatever. First off, that's a racist ass comment, Skip. Who the fuck said rap is only black people? Just because majority of rap, black hip hop started with black culture, that means that white people can't do it too? That shit kills me. That's like saying a black person can't sing country, or black people can't sing death metal or heavy metal or rock and roll. I think music is not based, has nothing to do with race. My favorite rapper is Eminem. He's white. My second favorite is Biggie. And Big Pun's up there. He's Puerto Rican. I was gonna say that is Hispanic. It's American, but it's Hispanic. Shit. Hispanics can be Americans. That's another thing. People get fucked up too. They're like, it's like we have black people that are Americans. Like, I'm not African. I said this before, man. I'm not African. I'm Black American, man. I was born and raised here. I don't know shit about Africa. When I meet Africans, they weird to me. Our cultures are totally different. You know what I mean? But anyways, I digress. My point is that Lil Wayne was like, that tells me, because white kids like my music, that tells me there's no such thing as racism. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, Lil Wayne. What the fuck are you thinking? And I've heard him say it before too. I saw other shits where he went on like Maury Povich, shit like that, whatever. It was like, yeah, I back up what I said. I stand by what I said. There's no such thing as racism. When I look out my crowd, this and that. That just means you're not racist. Just because you look at your crowd and you see a mixture of colors and stuff and you're happy about that, that means that you're not racist, sir. Okay? And just because those white kids that are there at your concert, they're probably not racist, sir. But that doesn't mean that racism doesn't exist. And I've said this, I'll say it again and again and again. I'm not just talking about white people being racist against black people. Racism exists all around the world. Especially here in the United States, you have Asians that are racist against white people. White people are racist against Asians and blacks. Hispanics are racist against black people. Black people are racist against white people. Black people, basically every race. And then you have people who are racist against their own race. You have white people who hate white people. You have black people who hate black people. Make that shit make sense. I personally don't understand it. I don't understand racism, period. Because anyone that has common sense and fucking intelligence should know. Like, I've met black people that are pieces of shit. Guess what? I met white people that are pieces of shit. I met Asian people that are pieces of shit. Like, pieces of shit come in all shades and colors. One of the coolest motherfuckers I ever met was, one of my good friends, I haven't talked to him in a while, is a white, well, technically he's mixed. He's one of those people, and he explained this to me, I like to talk to people about it and learn, why people think the way they think and what made them who they are. But he explained to me, because he's mixed. Half his family is white, half his family is Hispanic. But the area he grew up was rural country, and there was a lot of racism against non-white people. And he could pass for being white. So he turned into a racist white person, even though he's half Hispanic. I met another Hispanic person who hates Mexicans, half Mexican person. His dad is Mexican, his mom is white. He was raised by his mom. I don't even know where his dad is. I think his dad went back down Mexico or something. I don't know the whole story, so I'm not going to comment on that. But my whole point is that he hates Mexicans. Even though this one cannot pass white at all. He's definitely looks more Mexican than white. And he hates Mexicans. Okay, so it happens. I've met black people, not just mixed black people, but straight up black people who hate black people. A lot of times, sometimes it's tied, like with my homeboy, it was tied to him. He said that, he had no problem. He had friends that were black. And then once they got to school, started getting older and stuff, those friends were probably pressured by other black people, like, hey, you can't be friends with him because he white or he is. I don't know what they classified him as, but they basically, he said they started like, they jumped him or like beat him up or something like that. And after that, he was like, I hate black people. It's kind of like the movie American History X. You look at that, the main dude wasn't racist at the very beginning. It wasn't until his dad got killed in a fire that he felt his dad shouldn't even been fighting. And some of the comments, like you listen at the beginning of the movie, his dad made some comments that wasn't outwardly racist, but it had racist overtones to him. You know what I mean? Like, so I think some of that stuff kind of stuck in his head and kind of influenced him the way he was. But he saw that it led to nothing, tried to get his little brother away from that. And he saw how much bullshit it was when he got to prison and the fucking supposed racist dudes were doing dealings with black people and Hispanics and shit. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, we supposed to hate them motherfuckers. Why are we dealing with them? And they're like, oh, this is politics. Oh, yeah. It's politics. So when it's politics, it's fine. But we still hate them. Like, come on, man. What kind of dumbass, fucked up, malfunctioned shit is that? Like, your brain really has to be fucked up for you to think that way. But anyways, I digress again. So my point was, Lil Wayne, hate to tell you this, just because most people, I do believe that most people in the world are not racist. And then I also believe that there's a lot of people who aren't racist who get kind of like bullied into it or talked into it, like they want to fit in. You see more of that, like the harder it is. Like, you think all fucking Germans back in the day were Nazis or supported that shit? I bet you a lot of them didn't. Even a lot of the ones that were actually Nazis, that became Nazis and killed motherfuckers, a lot of them probably didn't believe it. You had people like, they emphasize a lot of like the sergeants, Hemmel, the motherfuckers that did believe that shit and really hated fucking Jew. I don't even know, look. Some of these motherfuckers that you see on here that like viciously kill people and you can tell that they enjoyed that shit. Same thing with black people, white people that kill black people and shit like that. Some of them might have been getting glee and happiness out of it because they were so racist that they really enjoyed killing this other race or, killing Jews or whatever if they're a fucking Nazi. But I think some of them, they just like to cause pain. Like, they just want to hurt someone, something. These are the motherfuckers that are fucking torturing animals and shit. They're not doing it to fit in. They're doing it, but they're not doing it also because of, like, racism or because they're anything like that. They're just doing it because they just want to cause pain, and this is an opportunity for them to be able to do it and get away with it. You know what I mean? But anyways, so, again, racism does exist. I've seen it firsthand, and like I said, it's not just white people against black people. I've seen black people racist against white people. I've seen black people I've seen black dudes jump a white dude just because he was white. Especially being from Baltimore, shit like that. You grow up in all black neighborhoods and shit, and that's why I always say the white dudes that grow up in all black neighborhoods are some of the toughest motherfuckers because they had to fight. You know what I mean? It's just. But anyways, so those are the two things I want. Oh, then I was talking about DEI. I said I was also going to talk about DEI. So let's break that down real quick because a lot of motherfuckers don't understand what that shit means. Even though it's gone, Donald Trump got rid of that shit like a dumbass. Let me explain to people what exactly it means because even my brother didn't understand. People are like, oh, I always hear the people's biggest things is, oh, people should be hired because of their skill, not because of their color or because of their race or because they're a woman, because they're sex or whatever. Okay, first off, if a business is forced to hire someone, like say, we'll take race out of it since I'm black, we'll just say a woman. Say a job is forced to hire a woman. Basically what that means is that they have no other women working there. Because if you did have women working there, you wouldn't be forced to hire one. And then they'll take a man who will go apply for that job, and they might tell him, like, hey, and this is their way of, like, fighting against being forced to do something, is they'll be like, oh, it's not our fault. We would hire you, but we need to hire a woman, so we can't hire you. And then the dude goes out and says, the only reason I didn't get the job was because I'm a man. You know, it's the same thing. You know, they'd be like, the only reason I didn't get a job is because I'm white. They said they needed to hire a black person. That's reverse, that's reverse racism. First off, that's not reverse racism. That's just racism. There's no such thing as reverse racism. That's what I'm saying. Racism can go both ways. They can be black people racist against white. They can be white people racist against white people. If you're being discriminated against because of your race, that's racism. But when it comes to hiring process, that's not racism. Okay, you're not being discriminated against, because I hate, it's the same thing. If they're being forced to hire a black person, that means there's no black people that work there. And I hate to tell you this, my boy, but if you was that talented and that skilled and they really wanted to hire you, they would hire you. Because again, they have many other employees. They just don't have no black employees. Got plenty of white employees. Now let's just say, let's take it for instance, say they fire somebody, okay? Say you have 10 employees, all of them are white dudes. And you're forced to fire one of them white dudes and hire a black dude, okay? Some people might be like, oh, that's messed up. You need to hire the people, the best talented people, this and that. This, it shouldn't be based on race. Okay, well, let's look at the situation. So you want me to believe that this place is not being racist and didn't hire all 10 of those people. Now, I'm not saying those people are not qualified. I'm sure they looked and them people have the skills. If they're hiring electricians, I'm pretty sure all them people know how to be electricians, okay? Some of them are going to be better than others, okay? But I'm pretty sure they're all qualified. But they also are all white. So they were like, so you want me to believe that the 10 best electricians just happen to all be white males? You want me to believe that over the fact that they looked and said we only want to hire white males? It doesn't matter if anyone else is qualified. They're going to be qualified, but they're the qualified people. We have 100 qualified people. Okay, we're going to pick 10 qualified people who are all white. Okay. Now, let's say they fire one of those 10 qualified people. Okay, they fired number 10. Doesn't mean he's not qualified. Okay, he got the job. He was qualified. But guess what? He's number 10. That means he has 9 people that are more qualified than him. Okay, all 10 of them are white. 9 of them are better than you, my guy. So when they got to fire someone to hire that black person, guess who they're getting rid of? They're getting rid of the worst person, number 10 on the list. They're not going to get rid of their best white dude. They're going to get rid of their worst white dude. So you was right there about to get cut anyways. You act like you a motherfucking ringer, like you a slugger, when you was on the bottom of the chart. So when you hire that black person, who are you going to get? Are you going to hire now? People are like, oh, DEI, he's going to hire a random black person. Like, they're just going to take a black person off the street and be like, all right, you're an electrician. No. You're going to hire the best black person. Just like if you only had to hire one white dude, you would hire the very best white dude, right? Well, you do the same thing with the black people. You're going to hire the very best black dude. So now you have 9 qualified white people, 1 qualified black person. I promise you, that qualified black person is way better than that white person that got let go, because he was number 10. Now, that black person might not be number 1. He might not be the best, but he's in there somewhere because he's the best black person that came out of that electric school. You know what I mean? He might be number 1. I don't know, because being the best has nothing to do with race. Like, we found that out in wars. We found that in World War II. And it's like, oh, black people can't fly planes. They put them in planes. And guess what? We can fly. Like, fuck the Germans up. They're like, oh, shit, I just got shot down by a black dude. What the fuck? I thought we was the superior race. Wrong, motherfuckers. We're all human beings. Now, I will say there's a difference between men and women, but that doesn't mean that women can't do the same jobs that men can do. Now, that doesn't mean, again, that's the other thing, too. Let's talk about some sex shit real quick. Okay. Because this shit cracks me up. Okay. I recognize most women, I punch them in the face and it would just demolish their whole face. Okay. Most men, obviously, are stronger than most women. But that doesn't mean that all men are stronger than all women. Like, I believe that most men can beat most women in sports. But that doesn't mean that every single one can. You think I can beat one of them WNBA players in basketball? Fuck no. Now, yeah, our best NBA player can beat their best WNBA player. You know, it wouldn't even be a fucking competition. But that doesn't mean that every single NBA player is better than every single WNBA player. They got some scrubs in the NBA, man. That's what people gotta understand. But anyways, that's a whole nother fucking video. This video is already 30 minutes into this bitch. Really didn't want it to be that long. I was actually in the middle of twisting up right now so I can smoke me something before I go to work. Yeah, gotta go to work today. Fucking sucks. Work fucking sucks, man. Sometimes I watch these videos of these motherfuckers like living on islands and shit. Like, it. That's one thing I always say about America. I love America, don't get me wrong. But it kills me that there's not land here that you can just go and claim. Like, you can just go and be like, okay, no one lives here. I'm going to cut the trees down, build me a house, and live here. Can't really do that. I think I know there's like a town or something out in the desert or something. You know, even that I think is like, they set it up and they don't fuck with them because I guess they're out there in the middle of nowhere and people are like, who gives a fuck? But from what my understanding is, even that land is owned by somebody. Like every piece of land in America, as far as I know, is owned by somebody. If it's not owned by somebody, it's owned by the government, which means it's owned by somebody. But anyways, let me go ahead and get off this. Like I said, I wasn't talking shit about nobody. I was just commenting on some shit that I saw that I disagree with a little bit. And I just want to school y'all motherfuckers on racism here in America. Because someone on my comments talking about, oh yeah, a job could fire you, this and that, we got to stick together. Motherfucker, don't you know that's what unions are about? We don't have that many here. Why? Because we, as a country, feel the businesses should be able to do what the fuck they want to do for the most part. That's why businesses get rich. Motherfuckers like own Walmart and shit. And, you know, it ain't the employees. Ain't no trickle-down effect. You know there ain't no trickle-down effect. When motherfuckers get bonuses in the same time they laying niggas off. That's how big businesses do. That's why I could never be like a CEO or some shit like that. I'm not saying I will never have money. Who knows? Stranger shit has happened. One day I get rich, I'll be on this bitch like, yeah, motherfuckers. But I could never be like a CEO like running like a big business because I'm just not that cold-hearted, man. Like I could be cold-hearted if I need to. Like, if I need to body a motherfucker, I could do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I trained myself when I was a kid to not let my emotions get the better of me because you can't be robbing motherfuckers if you're feeling bad for them. But that's not who I am. Like, I'm a good person. I really don't want to see people suffer or hurt people. I force myself to do that shit because, you know, this is a dog-eat-dog world. And at the time, I'm like, it's either you going to get down or you going to get done. You know, like you either going to eat or you going to get eaten, especially in prison. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I want to turn my life around, start doing good, but this ain't the place to do it. And here I'm going to do what I got to do. You feel me? And that was the same way it was growing up. You know, it's like, shit, I'm going to do what I got to do. You know, mothers out here doing shit. You know, I'm not going to be some lame or nothing, which I should have been a lame. Should have been lame as fuck. Went to school, got me a good job, got paid, and said fuck everyone else. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm happy with life. I ain't complaining. At least I ain't locked up every fucking day. I was thinking about this shit last night, watching a goddamn show about these kids in prison. And the one kid was like, yeah, man, it's just real when you look out the window and see the bars and see the goddamn barbed wire and shit. It's like, yeah, I know that feeling. I've been there, yo. Like, one day I'm sitting there in my bedroom playing PlayStation. Next day, my house getting raided and I'm in a fucking police station. A couple months later, I'm in prison. Now, one thing I will say was a little bit different in my case was because they were, you know, and these are juveniles. So, you know, it's a little bit different when you're a juvenile going to, you finally become 18 and they switch you to the adult side or whatever. I was an adult like right from the rip. I got locked up when I was 19. Actually, I got locked up when I was 20. Yeah, so I was already an adult. I went straight. And man, when I was in county jail, I was in maximum security because of my charge and shit. But so for me, I was like, once I caught my plea, I was like, I want to go to prison as soon as possible. Like, just get this shit over with. Like, that was part of my shit. I want to do it, but let's do it now. Because in prison, and they were right, I had heard, I'd never been before myself, but I found out it was true once I got there. You have a lot more freedom. You actually had a real yard. You could go out there, play basketball, baseball, flag football. They had weights outside. They even had a fucking ice cream shack where we could use tickets. You could buy tickets off the canteen and then use tickets out there to buy ice cream, soda, shit like that. Get pictures taken outside. If it was raining, we had a gym where we had pool tables and stuff like that. And I know some people are going to see my shit and be like, dang, y'all had all that shit. Motherfucking medium maximum security. Motherfuckers in there for life, in there for killing people, raping, all kinds of crazy shit. And y'all motherfuckers have all that shit. Well, I mean, the thing is we're still human beings. Like, people crap me up when they say that. It's like, we all have family. Anyone that's locked up has family. That's someone's dad, son, brother. So they should serve time because they did wrong. But that doesn't mean you got to take away everything. And plus, the other thing is, if you have nothing to live for, then why the fuck are you going to behave? Like, the COs have to do the job. It's a lot easier on a CO to control people, when people ain't wilding out because they have nothing to lose. You get people, and then that's what they used at the prison I was at, was if you fucked up too bad and went to lock up too long, they sent all your shit home. Most people don't, when they've been locked up for a while, they don't have no one on the outside sending them money and shit. That's, you got to think, once you do years, at the beginning you have people, but most people, you have people that die, especially if you're older, your parents are going to die. When I was locked up, my grandmother died while I was locked up. You know what I mean? Like, so you might have people sending you money, they pass away, they're not sending you money no more. So if you get locked up and all your shit gets sent home, how are you going to have money to buy a new TV? How are you going to have money to buy any of those things? But if those things ain't there for you to buy and they're there for you to get, then what the fuck why would I behave? Especially if I have life or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, I'm going to get off of here. It's like 37 minutes and shit. Like I said, I got to finish twisting this shit up and get this shit smoked before I got to go to work. But I'm going to holler at y'all. Be safe. Peace.